fastest show in sports.
I mean, I don't have a pulse on young America, but I do know if you look at the social media numbers, everything like that, the NBA is talked about more than the NFL, than
Yes.
baseball, than hockey. It is still like, and so they have captured this young audience. And part of it is it's cultural. It's if you're a white kid in the suburbs, that's how you identify with black people sometimes. You know, if you don't know anybody
True.
and all of a sudden, wow, these guys are these cool athletes, they happen to be black, and I don't have anybody like that in my neighborhood, but damn it, I just love watching Damian Lillard, or I watch, he's just got an attitude. And these guys, and so a lot of people, and so I just think there's a lot of things that the NBA has going for it, including a youth movement, but to keep that, I agree, these guys have to turn into major stars soon. Now, as we say all this, remember, this show is taped on a Tuesday. A Wednesday, by the time it'll be out, and everybody and their mom will be watching us, Cooper Flagg will be the number one pick by the Dallas
Dallas
Mavericks.
Mavericks, yeah.
And he will join one of the most entertaining players of all time, Kyrie Irving, bad attitude or not. Kyrie's kind of rehabilitated himself as a player and so as a guy, and so he's coming back from an injury, and they have some nice pieces on that team, Anthony Davis. And so all of a sudden you have you have probably what people are saying is the greatest white American born player since Larry Bird, which is crap because I don't believe that you need a white guy to sell the league anymore. I think we're past that in some ways.
Okay, but
you're
wait,
still parts of
stop right there. The why then is that still being said? Because you're right. I have already read and seen a number of things from these various so-called bullshit experts, and I call them that because they're not. They're just social media mavens, if anything else, talking about the fact that here comes Cooper Flagg. It's just what the NBA needs right now. They need a star white player to build up the NBA,
Yeah.
which is absolute nonsense at this point. Why are we in 2025 still talking about the fact that the NBA has got a star white player? How about a star player? I mean, that's the thing that nails me all the time.
Yeah.
We're still caught in that because the NBA doesn't need all black players, doesn't need all white players. They've got great talent. End of story.
Yeah.
But it seems as if a lot of people just want to go past that. I don't know why. That has me angry.
I just took off my shades, and I feel like I'm in the Unforgiven right now, Ed.
That's
I
what
could
we're
be a
afraid of.
cowboy. Yeah, no, okay. This is kind of corny, but all right. So I guess what you're saying makes all sense in the world. But look at the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese thing. We're still race obsessed in America, obviously, and through the prism of sports. But I think almost it's more of a novelty in some ways. Like all the great players of Caucasian ancestry at this point are coming from Europe. Luka Doncic is a megastar. Nikola Jokic is probably going to be on the Mount Rushmore of NBA players when it's all said and done. So these are and so now you have this guy who was born in Maine. It is kind of like it does have like a bird-esque quality to it. It's sort of a novelty act more than anything. But if you look around the rosters
point
in
there,
the
though,
end,
Mike.
but
The point is not that it's a great white player coming into the NBA. It's
a great player who happens to be
an American player. American fans still
American
have that
player,
jingoistic attitude where they want to root for the American player. So if you've got this great American player coming in, that is worth its weight in marketing and ticket gold at this point, because I do believe that's what the NBA is very quietly starting to move towards. Maybe less of a European influence and more of an American influence. And you know that the marketing people on Madison Avenue, on Park Avenue, at the NBA offices, they're going, "Gimme, baby. Give me a good American player and I'll eat that alive."
Well, yeah, it's funny because David Stern's whole goal was to see an NBA what like you have today. Yao Ming went to the Hall of Fame. My gosh, Manu Ginobili is one of the great players of all time. All these wonderful players from around the world that grew up not, wishing they were soccer players, but basketball players. And that to me is an amazing thing. And so, but you're right. The flip side of that is how much have you outsourced our game? And so are you going to get it back at all? And this kid from Maine shows all the qualities that, but I also believe, look, like Bird told me this a long time ago over like his last year. I was just some Cub reporter that talked him into lunch. He was like, look, I go, how does it feel to be white in the black league? He goes, it don't matter if you're from Kuwait or Iraq or Indiana. If you're 6'9" and you like to play and you got some skill, you're gonna make it. And his whole idea was, you know, there are only great basketball players in the NBA, some of whom happen to be black, most of whom happen to be black, some of whom happen to be white. If you look at the players now, what blew me away from just 10 years ago maybe is how many players in the league are white American players. Tyler Hero, T.J. McConnell, and they're all Peyton Pritchard, sixth man of the year. These guys all like who's the kid? Austin Reeves. Like if your parents, this was the thing that I was seeing when I was starting my child in hoops. All these parents were telling me, "Oh, you got to get him out of hoops because the kids that get scholarships in there, they wouldn't say black, but that's what they were saying to
What they
me.
were saying.
Like, get him into lacrosse, get him into baseball. I'm like, I don't give a crap like if my son wants to play basketball, I'm not going to steer him toward another sport because I think he won't get a scholarship. Hardly anybody gets scholarships anyway. I just want him to like the game because I love the game. And sure enough, more parents have felt like me who actually have good genes and whose kids can play because they kept their kids in that sport. And there's a lot of why. And the other thing is too, like I don't know why I was bringing this up. We're totally going off base here, but when I said a lot of African American players over the years, they've been the backbone of the NBA in some ways. Some of those kids, especially poor kids, have been priced out because everybody's got a pro trainer now.
Right.
And so all of a
Game
sudden
has
you're like
changed.
sort of like these, yeah, and unless you get identified by a top elite AU program, you're not getting the attention or the money or the training you desire. And all these other kids whose parents have money are, including the parents of pro player. I mean, sorry, the kids of pro players who've made it in the league.
See, there's two things that I think the NBA is going to look forward to eventually, and that I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's sitting on their radar. First of all, the NBA is very slowly starting to get away from the what I call the Ja Morant style of basketball and the era of basketball there. They're getting away from the knuckleheads,
Oh,
the
I know where
idiots,
you're
the
going. I know
morons.
where you're going.
Well, wait
I
a
know
minute,
where you're
hang on,
going.
but it's a fair cop. They're getting away from
Okay.
what has been all the issues off the court and all of the nonsense that happened, and they're getting into players that are more family friendly. People are enjoying bringing their kids to it now because they have players who relate a little bit better to the fans, they relate a little bit better to the game, and they don't feel so offended, maybe, if you will, about the game because, look, when you get down to it, there's a lot of sports that have that sort of an element that's involved in it, and people don't want to take their kids to it. They don't want them to be around it. Now they do. You've got that family friendly. That's important to them. Yes? It's got to be.
Yeah, you're right, Ed. This is the part of the show where we go back into being the two white dudes who are old, and we don't, we don't want them. We don't want them young brothers with the do
That's not what
rags
I
and
said, and you know it.
Well, yeah, you are saying like
That's
it's all
not what I'm
code, Ed.
saying.
It's all code.
That's
But I
not what
get
I'm
okay. I
saying.
get
It's
what
not
you're.
all code.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Look, half the league is still tatted up. I don't know if I
I
want a
don't care about
tattoo at this
tattoos.
point. It's so sad.
About
But
that.
but here's the but you're right that like the whole element of finger guns and all the dumb shit that John Morant does off
That's
the
my
court. It's
point.
like you're not. You know what? It's like a great lesson from any player, from Allen Iverson who did it wrong to Shaquille O'Neal who did it right is, bring your boys from the neighborhood along if they're self-sufficient and they want to get better. If they don't, and you're their primary source of income, and all they want to do is bring you back to Hampton Roads, the worst neighborhood in that town, then you need to get rid of them. Well, John Morant has to make that decision at this point.
Look, but you
And
got to
you
remember too.
call it inner
I
city
don't
in the
care where
hood,
John Morant
whatever.
comes from.
He
I
is
don't care. To be honest,
what?
I don't know
But it's
where he
how
grew
he
up.
behaves.
I
It's
don't.
how he. It's all his stuff off the court.
That's my point. There's two things that the NBA, well, like every sport now, but the NBA is more concerned about making sure that A, They're a good family game. You can bring your kids to it. You can go on a date to it. You can bring your family. You can enjoy it and have a good sport. They want to do that. It's important to get that audience. The second audience is the gambler. As long as if we have the families and we have the degenerate gamblers sitting over here and they're both happy, they win.
Yeah.
Everybody wins at that point.
Yes.
And they've already taken care of the
Yes.
gambler. They have those very well taken
Right.
care of.
That's all, folks.